Hi guys, today we're going to be looking at the mathematics ordinary level paper. This is paper 1 and this was written in 2020. Okay, so it's not a very difficult paper. Just always remember whenever you're writing your exams, carefully read all the instructions and follow them. Okay, so let's get into it. Question 1, write 7/20 as a decimal. So this you can just do on your calculator, 7/20. This, and then to change it from a fraction to a decimal, we press this button here, we get 0.35. Then write 200,057 in figures. So 200,057 in figures. This is how you would write it. So you know that 200,000, this is 200, and then the 1,000 is 3 zeros, but then there's 57, so that goes there at the end. Then number 3, Monday buys 2 books which cost 350 each, and 3 magazines which cost 90 each. She pays with 5 $200 notes. How much change will she receive? So first we calculate how much she needs to pay. So she buys 2 books, 350 each. So we'll say 350 times 2. And then we are going to add the cost for the magazines. So there's 3 magazines. How much does each of them cost? This is 90. So we work this out. We have 350 times 2 plus 3 times 90. Okay, so she has to pay 970. Okay, so now we need to figure out how much does she pay to the cashier. So she pays with 5 $200 notes. So this is her total. Then the amount that she gave to the cashier, this is 5 times 200. 5 times 200, this is 1,000. Then to work out her change, all we need to do is say 1,000 minus 970. So 1,000 minus 970, this is 30. So you don't need a calculator for that one. You can just work it out. But if you're not sure, to confirm, go ahead and use your calculator. Okay, question 4. One day in the desert, the temperature at noon was 24 degrees Celsius. At midnight, the temperature was -3 degrees. Work out the change in temperature between noon and midnight. Okay, so the change in temperature, okay, so we are going to say 24 degrees. We don't need the units here actually, minus -3 degrees Celsius. So I'm just putting it there because I put that one there. And this one, you type in on your calculator, say 24 minus -3, and this is 27 degrees Celsius. Okay, so the answer is 27 degrees. So another way you can think about it, if you are not sure which one should I say, -3 minus this one or this one minus that one, what you could do is you think about it was 24 degrees and then it had to get to 0 before it gets to -3, which is maybe somewhere here. My scale is obviously not accurate. So from 0 to 24, this is 24 degrees. And then from 0 to -3, this is 3. And then you could just add these two together. The change would still be 27 degrees. Okay, then 5A, classify the following numbers as non-real. rational or irrational. So non-real is, for example, if you typed it in on your calculator, it would say something like error. Let me see. Let's say we typed in square root of -1. So depending on the mode that your calculator is in, it will say error, but non-real does not necessarily mean the same thing as undefined. Okay, so if you're not sure, each of these numbers, you could just type them in on your calculator. Let's say square root. We say square root of 81. So the answer is 9, so that is definitely real. And then 9, I can write it as a fraction. It's 9/1, so that means it is rational. So this one here, we can say this is real and rational. Okay, it doesn't specifically tell us to say whether it's non-real or real, but I think it's worth writing. And then the cube root of 81, you can just type that in on your calculator. So we have shift, okay, the cube root of 81, and this is 4 point whatnot. So we're not getting math error, so that tells us that this is a real number. And what you can do if you're not sure whether you can rewrite this as a fraction or not, press this button here. See, my calculator is not able to convert it to a fraction, so that should tell you that this is irrational. So remember, irrational just means you cannot write it as a fraction. Then this one here, the square root of -81. Okay, and look at that, it gives us a math error, so that tells us this is non-real. So if it's non-real, you don't state whether it's rational or irrational, you just stop there. Okay, number 6 on set theory. So we have our universal set over here. A contains the prime numbers, and B has the numbers 5, 6, 8, and 9. So we have to complete the Venn diagram. So that means we need to place all these numbers from 1 to 10 over here. Now remember that each number needs to appear only once. So you can see the number 1 is here. You mustn't see another 1 maybe over here. There must be only one number 1, one number 10, and so on. So what you should always do is try and find all the numbers that are in both A and B. So A is prime numbers, and B is the numbers, contains the numbers 5, 6, 8, and 9. So you look at B, which of these numbers are prime? So 5 is prime, 6 is not, 8 is not, 9 is not. So in the intersection, here we're only going to have 5. Okay, then you can go to A. You put all the numbers that are prime. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cancel the numbers that are already written, so I know which ones I have left. So 5 is there, 1 was given to us, it was already written, 10 was already written. So I go to 2. So I ask myself, 2, does it go in A or B? 2 is a prime number, so it goes in A. 3 is a prime number, so it goes here. 4 is not a prime number, but it's also not in B. So that means it must be outside both of these circles. So 4, there it is, already written for me. Then 6 goes in B. 7 is a prime number. So 7 goes here. 8 is in B. And 9 is in B. Okay, and then after you've written all the numbers down, what you should do is do a quick count. Make sure all the numbers are there, even though I was canceling them over there, so I know I've written everything. It's always good just to check. So I see I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, and every number only appears once. Then you can look at your set A. Set A has 2, 3, 5, 7. Those are the prime numbers, less than 10. B has 5, 6, 8, and 9. So I'm sure that what I've done is correct. Okay, then B says list the elements of A union B complement. So this symbol here, this apostrophe means complement. Complement means not inside the set A union B. So A union B means everything in the circle of A, and the circle of B. So A union B complement means what is outside those two circles. So we have 1, we have 4, and we have 10. Then A intersect B complement, and then this n just means how many numbers do you have in this set. So first we have to figure out where is A intersect B complement. So A intersect B complement. So if you're not sure, try and break this down in words. So A intersect B, so that means it must be inside A. And then remember, intersection means and B complement means not in B, so outside B. Okay, so we're looking for the numbers that are inside A as well as outside B. So we start with the first condition. They must be inside A, so it's 2, 3, 5, 7. And then the second condition is they must be outside B, so it's only 2, 3, and 7. We have 2, 3, and 7. Sorry, I'm writing those down, but that's not exactly what the question is on. The question is asking for the number of elements. So I'm going to write it down over here. So it's 2, 3, and 7. And then now we answer the question. It says, how many numbers do we have in this set that are inside A as well as outside B? And our answer is just 3. Okay, so if it was like B, where it says list the elements, then you'd write 2, 3, and 7. But here it says the number, how many are in A and not in B. Okay, question 7. A rectangular field is 16 meters long and 12 meters wide. Both measurements are given correct to the nearest meter. Find the largest possible area of the field. So what you can do is draw a little sketch here. So it is 16 meters. It's rounded off, and this one is 12 meters. So it's rounded off to the nearest meter. So you need to come up with a range. So here, our length, we need to come up with a length. Now, if I wanted to round off a number to 16, I could have 15.5. That's the smallest that it can be. If it is less than 15.5, then I'll round it off to 15. So the smallest that it can be is 15.5. And then the largest that it can be is 16.4. 5. Yeah, just 16.4. Okay, so because if it's 16.5, then I'm going to have to round it off to 17. So these are the limits, okay? Because you only take one decimal place because it's rounded off to the nearest meter. So you look at what comes after the decimal. And then we do the same thing with this one, our width. Okay, so we ask ourselves, if I'm going to round off a number to 12, what is the smallest that it can be? And that's 11.5, because if I have 11.5, I round it off to 12. If I have 11.6, you round it off to 12. If you're rounding off to 0 decimal places, which is the nearest meter. And then this one over here, the largest that it can be is 12.4. Okay, so these are our estimations. Now it says calculate the largest possible area. So to find the largest possible area, just take the upper limits, this one and that one, and then multiply them. So our largest possible area, this will be 16.4 multiplied by 12.4. And this you do on your calculator. So we say 16.4 multiplied by 12.4, and this gives us 203.36. And then this is meters squared. Okay, so again, follow the instructions on the question paper that are given right there at the front. If the degree of accuracy is not specified in the question, and if the answer is not exact, okay, so our answer is actually exact. So exact just means that the number of decimal places do terminate at after a certain point. So we can just leave it like that. Or you can also rewrite this to 3 significant figures, which will be 203 meters squared. Okay, then number 8, the annual rainfall in 2017 for Opuo was 420 millimeters. Then the annual rainfall in 2018 was 12% more than 2017. Find the annual rainfall in 2018. So here we're told that 2018, this is 2017 plus 12% of 2017. So it's 12% more. Okay. Now the amount of 2017 is 100% of 2017. So if you add 12%, that's 100 plus 12. So you could work it out in this way. First find the 12% and then add it to the one that you got, or you could just go ahead and find 112% of the amount you have in 2017. Either way, you would get the same thing. So we do it the first way. We say 112% of 420. Remember, 112% just means 112 over 100. You multiply this by 420. So on your calculator, 112 over 100. Then multiply this by 420. Okay, so that means in 2018, Opuo got 470.4. Okay, and then you write your answer over here. Okay, then B, it is given that the rainfall in 2017 of 420 was 25% more than in 2016. Find the annual rainfall in 2016. Okay, so here we're saying from 2016 to 2017, it went up by 25%, and then it became 420. Okay, so that means that this 420, this is 125% of the 2016 rain. Okay, so we don't know how much we had in 2016, so we can call that X, and we say X is equal to 125% of how much did we get in how much did we get? Oh, sorry, I'm mixing this up. Let me just correct that eraser here. Okay, I'm not writing it correctly. Okay, let me say that again. All right, so the rainfall in 2017 is 125% of the amount we got in 2016. So if we take 125% of 2016's rainfall, we call it X, we don't know what it is. This must give us 420. Okay, so now we write everything with just numbers and symbols, no words like off. So we say 125 over 100 times X, this is equal to 420. Then we can cross multiply. We have 125, X is equal to 42000. And then to solve for X, Sorry, my writing is a little bit all over the place, but I hope you're following. So when you're writing, please try and write it as neatly as possible. Okay, so this is 42000 over 125. So we do this on our calculator. Okay, I see what I did. I multiplied this by 100, but that, okay, I think my multiplication, I multiplied, okay, I didn't type it in correctly. I didn't write this one here correctly. So just be careful with those mistakes. This should just be a 0 there. Okay, so the answer is 336. So this 0 here is not supposed to be there. So let me correct that. Okay, so our answer is 336. So this is equal to 336. Okay, so you could also try it. First, find 25% of 336. Let's see on our calculator. So we say times 0.25 times okay, that's 84, and then you add 336 and it'll give you 420. Okay, so what I just did there was I find 25% of the 2016 rain, and then I added to the amount we got in 2016, and it should give me this one because we're saying that the rainfall in 2017 was 25% more than the one we got in 2016. Alrighty. Okay, number 9, when written as a product of its prime factors, 108 is 2 squared times 3 cubed, right? 96 as a product of its primes. Okay, so with this question, one trick I learned when I was in high school many years ago was you don't have to like figure everything out all at once. Try and break it down. So let's say we have 96 here. Think of the smallest prime number that can go into this one. So that's 2. So you can write this as 2 times something. So to find out what that something is, you just say 96 divided by 2. Okay, so that's 48. Okay, so this is a prime. I can write it as 2 times 48, but remember 48 is not prime and we only want to write it as a product of its primes. So this 48, we break it down. 2 is a prime number that can go in there. So we find another one. So we say 48 divided by 2. This is 24. Okay, and then 24, we can break it down as 2 and 12. 12, we can break it down as 2 and 6. And 6, we can break it down as 2 times 3. And then you follow the chain. So it's 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. So 96, say this is 2 times 2 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then times 3. So this is 2 to the power of 5 times 3. Oh, and you try this on your calculator, 2 to the power of 5 times 3. This gives us 96. So this is how you break it down. Okay. So start with the smallest prime numbers that can go into your number, and then you keep breaking it down until your chain only contains prime numbers. Okay, then work out the highest common factor of 108 and 96. Okay, so here we see that 108 is 2 squared times 3 cubed. Okay, so I'm going to write this here. This is 2 squared times 3 cubed, and 96 is 2 to the power of 5 times 3. This is just 3 to the power of 1. So what you try and do here is you try and make a number that is the same using the factors of 108 and 96. Okay, so let's say the powers of 2, the largest powers of 2 I can get from this one is 2. So I have 2 to the power of 2. And then over here, because the largest power of 2 I can get from there is 2, so here I also have 2 to the power of 2. Here the largest power of 3 I can get is 1, so I say times 3, and then here I can also match that. So it's sort of like you're saying, how many 2s can I get from 108? How many 2s can I match? So they must match. Just because I can get 5 here, I cannot get 5 over there, so I have to pick the smallest one. And then this will give me my highest common factor. So this is 2 to the power of 2 times 3. So this is 4 times 3, and this is equal to 12. Okay, so basically what you're doing is matching factors. So from 108, you say, okay, you can give me 2 to the power of 2. That means this one can also give 2 to the power of 2. This one can give 3 to the power of 1. That means this one can give me only 3 to the power of 1. That means this one can also match that with 3 to the power of 1. And that's how you work out the highest common factor. Okay, work out the lowest common multiple of 108 and 96. Okay, so I have 2 to the power of 2 times 3 to the power of 3, and then I have 2 to the power of 5 times 3. Okay, so you may be tempted to just multiply these two. Let's see what we would get if we say 108 times 96. That gives me 103, 10,368. Okay, right. So we have 10,368. So 10,368. So that one may be tempting to just say, okay, multiply them, but it may not necessarily be the lowest common multiple. Okay, so what we do is we try and make these two numbers the same. So here the largest power of 2 is 5. So I see, okay, what do I need to multiply this by in order to make this 2 to the power of 5? I need to multiply this one by 2 to the power of 3. And this one is 3 to the power of 1. I need to make it 3 to the power of 3. So I multiply this by 3 to the power of 2. Okay. Then if you do that, these two numbers will be the same. So let's work this one out. We'll work this one out. So I have here, this is 108 times 2 to the power of 3. So we have 108 times 2 to the power of 3. This gives me 864. And then here, if I tried it, so this 2 to the power of 5 times 3, this gives me 96 times 3 squared. This is also 864. So you can see that 864 is a common factor, and it is in fact the lowest common factor. So simply multiplying the two numbers together will give you a multiple. If I can say factor. Okay, so 864 is a multiple of 96 and 108, but that is the lowest common multiple. So 10,368 is also a multiple of the two of them, but it's not necessarily the lowest one. Okay, so sometimes just multiplying the two does not give you the answer that we're looking for. So instead, what you do is you try and make this number look the same as that one by filling in the gaps. You see here, I have 2 to the power of 2. I need 2 to the power of 5. So I multiply by 2 to the power of 3. And this one I have 2 to the power of 1. It needs to be 3 to the power of 3. So I fill in the gaps by multiplying by 3 squared. Okay, then number 10, the ratio of teachers, male learners, female learners in a school is 1 to 7 to 8. The total number of learners is 720. Find the number of teachers in the school. Okay, so we have teachers, we have the girls, and then we have, no, sorry, I'm writing the ratio wrong. Okay, so we have the boys, so it's the male learners first, and then the girls, and this ratio is 1 to 7 to 8. Okay, and then we are told that the total number of learners is 720. So what you can do is you can add all these together. So you have 1 plus 7 plus 8. So we say 1 plus 7 plus 8. This is 8 plus 8, which is 16. So the total number of teachers and learners, let's call it T. So we say this is total teachers plus learners. Okay, so if we wanted to find out just the number of boys, we would say 7 over 16 times T. This will give us the number of boys. If we wanted the number of teachers, we would say 1 over 16 times T. And if we wanted the number of girls, we would say 8 over 16 times T. Now, what we do know is that the number of boys plus the number of girls is equal to 720 because this is the total number of learners. So what we do is we work out what the total number of people, teachers and learners at the school is, and then we can come back and solve for the number of teachers. So for the learners, we would say 7 over 16 times T, which is just 7 over 16 T, plus 8 over 16 T. This is equal to 720. So this is 7T over 16 plus 8T over 16. So this is 15T over 16, and this is equal to 720. And then you cross multiply, we get T, that is not the teacher, but the total number of people. So it's teachers and learners. Maybe I should have used a different letter. So don't get confused. This T represents teachers and learners, the total. So when you cross multiply, we have 720 times 16 over 15. So this we do on our calculators. So 720 times 16 over 15. Okay, this gives us 768. Okay, so that's the total number of people at the school. And now for the teachers, we say 1 over 16 times 768. Say 1 over 16 times 768. Okay, this gives us 48. So there's 48 teachers at the school. Okay, and with questions like this, I like them because you can always get some kind of clue or idea if what you're doing is right or not. The way to see this is if, for example, you're getting a decimal, it doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong, but it's likely to be suspicious because we can't have a decimal number of whether it's teachers or learners. So if I was getting something like 49.2, that wouldn't be correct. Okay, so it's a little bit suspicious, so you would have to maybe go over your work, make sure you haven't done anything wrong. But here my numbers are nice and whole, so I'm confident that what I've done is correct. Okay, number 11, the speed of a racing car is 288 kilometers per hour. Convert this speed to meters per second. So an easy way to do this is you just rewrite it as a fraction. So it's 288 kilometers per hour means over 1 hour. And then you convert the kilometers to meters. So we know if you want to convert kilometers to meters, multiply by 1,000. So the numerator I'll multiply by 1,000, and then converting an hour First, you convert to minutes by multiplying by 60, and then the minutes to seconds, you multiply by 60 again. So this is a simple, easy way of converting. So this you would do on your calculator. We have a fraction, so we have 288 multiplied by 1,000. In our denominator, I have 1 times 60 times 60. And this gives me 80 meters per second. Then number 12, without using a calculator, find the value of 7 1/5 divided by 4/5. Okay, so we'll just use the calculator to check if our answer is correct. But when it says without using a calculator, everything you do, all the steps must be there. So we have 7 1/5 divided by 4/5. So what we first do is this mixed fraction, we write it as an improper fraction. So to do that, we say 7 times 5. 7 times 5 is 35 plus 1 is 36. So this is 36/5 divided by 4/5. And then we know that the division sign changes to multiplication. The 36/5 doesn't change. And then the reciprocal of 4/5, which is 5/4. So here cancel. Then 4 goes in here once, and over there it goes 9 times. So this is 9 times 1 over 1 times 1, which is just equal to 9. And then on our calculator, we're just going to check and see if what we have done is correct. So here's how to write a mixed fraction. So we have 7 1/5 divided by 4/5. Okay, the answer is 9, so I know that what I've done is correct. Okay, they don't give us a space to write the answer, but the answer is 9. Okay. Right, number 13, in the spaces provided, write each number in the calculation above, rounded correct to the nearest whole number. Okay, so we have 10.625. We look at the first number after the decimal, it's a 6. If it's 5 or more, then you round up. If it's less than 5, then you leave the number as it is. So this is greater than 5, so this I'll round off to 11. At 3.1, we round it off to 3, it's the nearest whole number, and then 5.4, this is 5, and then 1.8, this is 2. Then use your answer in part A to work out an estimate. So here, just work out the numerator. So I have 11 plus 3 over 5 times 2. 11 plus 3 is 14. 5 times 2 is 7, and this is 2. So an estimate of the answer is 2. Okay, number 14, we have a right angled triangle. We have to calculate the length AC. Here we just have to make use of Pythagoras theorem. So take note, this is not drawn to scale, so don't use your ruler to measure this and then write it over there. You must use Pythagoras theorem. Now, Pythagoras theorem says that AB squared is equal to AC squared plus BC squared. So the sum of the squares of the two shorter sides is equal to the square of the longer side. And then from here, we can see that AC squared is equal to AB squared, the hypotenuse, minus BC squared. And if we want AC, not the square, we'll just take the square root of AB squared minus BC squared. Okay, so sorry. Okay, so I do it over here, AC, this is the square root. What is my AB? It's 12.2, you square it. My BC, this is 8.3, you square this, and this you just type in on your calculator exactly the way I have it. So I have 12.2 squared minus 8.3 squared. Okay, and this is 8.94. So I'm going to write this to 3 significant figures as per the instructions. So this is 8.94 centimeters. So say this is 3 significant figures. Then we have to calculate the angle BAC. So that means this angle over here. Okay, I'm gonna zoom out just a little bit so I can scroll down and still see everything I'm writing. Okay, so we want the angle BAC. So we're looking for this angle here. We have the lengths of all the sides of the triangle, or we can use the ones that we're given. In relation to this angle, this is my hypotenuse, and this is my opposite side. So we can use SOHCAHTOA and say sine of the angle BAC. This is equal to the opposite, so it's BC over the hypotenuse, which is AB. Then you substitute sine of BAC. This is my BC is 8.3. My AB is 12.2. And then to work out BAC, we take sine inverse on both sides. So BAC, this is sine inverse of 8.3 over 12.2 degrees. Okay, so make sure, very important, that your calculator is in degree mode. So to make sure, just second function or shift set up, and then the degree mode is 3. Okay, so you'll see the D over there, that means it's in degree. If there's an R over there, that means it's in radian, and you need to change because our answer is supposed to be in degrees. So we type in sine inverse of 8.3 over 12.2. Okay, my bracket. Okay, make sure brackets are there, very important, and that is 42.9 degrees. And this is to 3 significant figures. Okay, just make sure you follow all the instructions on the question paper about rounding off your answers. Okay, and now we can zoom back. Right, so we have to simplify this fraction over here. So when you see something like this already in your mind, you should think, okay, I need to factorize, because so that some terms can maybe cancel. So in my numerator, x is a common factor, so we take x out. So we have 2x plus 1. And then in the denominator, we have a quadratic trinomial. So you look for two numbers that when you multiply them, the answer is -8. And when you add them, the answer is -7. So that's -8 and +1. So I have 2x squared minus 8x plus x minus 4. And then you factor these two together, those two together. So I have x, 2x plus 1. The first two, 2x is a common factor, and we have x minus 4, and then the last two, 1 is a common factor, so like that. And you can see that this bracket is the same, so we have our numerator again, and we have 2x plus 1, and then x minus 4. Okay, then you can see, now that I've factorized, I see that this bracket here can cancel with this one over here, and in its simplest form, I have x over x minus 4. So that's my answer. Question 16. It is given that v is equal to at. Find the value of v when a is 5 and t is 12. So v is a times t. A is 5. T is 12. 5 times 12 is 60. Then where v is equal to at, we have to make a the subject. Just divide by t on both sides. So a is equal to v over t. That is making a the subject of the formula. Okay, number 17, we have to write this quadratic trinomial in this form. So basically what the question is asking you to do is to complete the square. Okay, now I'm going to write it here. Now, when you're completing the square and there's no equal to 0 or equal to something, what you first need to do is factor out the number in front of the x squared. So you'll have 2, then you'll say 2x squared divided by 2, get x squared. 4x divided by 2, this is 2x, and then minus 5 divided by 2, this is negative 5 over 2. That is always the first step. So notice I didn't say divide everything by 2, because if I divide everything by 2, I've changed the question. It's no longer the same as the way it was given. Then what you do is you look at this term here, this plus 2, what you're going to do with it is you're going to divide it by 2. So I say 2 divided by 2, and then the answer you get, you're going to square it. So 2 divided by 2, this is 1, 1 squared is 1. And with this 1 that you get here, you are going to add it and subtract it. So you have 2x squared plus 2x, you say plus 1 minus 1, then minus 5 over 2. So if you look at these two expressions here, the only difference, everything else is the same. The only difference is this part over here, plus 1 minus 1. But we know that plus 1 minus 1 is 0. So the difference between these two is 0. That means they are the same. So what you do is, now this one here, you would factorize it. Look for two numbers that you multiply, the answer is 1. You add them, the answer is 2. That's 1 and 1. In fact, if you've done it correctly, this will always be a perfect square. So this is 2. Now my round brackets over here, I'm going to make them square, okay, just so that there's a difference. So we can say, okay, there's big brackets outside, I made them square. Then this one here, if you factorize it, this is x plus 1 squared. So you just take this number here, divided by 2 is 1. And then here I have minus 1 minus 5 over 2 that you can do on your calculator if you don't know what it is. Okay, this is negative 7 over 2. So I put my bracket a little bit further away and just correct it so it looks nice. Okay, then what you do is you take this number that is outside and you multiply it inside the square brackets, not inside the round brackets. It's one bracket at a time. So you'll multiply it here outside the round brackets, not inside the round brackets. And then you also multiply it with this number over there. So you'll get 2x plus 1 squared, and then 2 times negative 7 over 2, this is just negative 7. And that is how you complete the square. So this is 2x plus 1 squared minus 7. Okay, so the plus here doesn't actually matter because minus 7 is the same as plus negative 7. So just leave it like that. Okay. Then 18 on vectors. So it is given that the vector A is negative 2, 7, and B is 8, 3. Find A plus B. A plus B, you just add the corresponding elements. So we have minus 2, 7, plus 8, 3. So to get our A plus B, you say minus 2 plus 8, and then 7 plus 3. So this is minus 2 plus 8 is 6. 7 plus 3 is 10. So that is your vector A plus B. Then the norm or the magnitude of A, you're just going to square each of these components and then add them together under a square root. So the norm of A, this is the square root of negative 2 squared plus 7 squared. And this you can just do on your calculator. So we have the square root of negative 2 squared plus 7 squared, and this gives us the square root of 53. And because this is not exact to 3 significant figures, this will be 7.28. Okay, so we say 7.28 units. Okay, because it's a length. Number 19, write as a single logarithm. So we have 3 log of x plus 7 plus 1 minus log x. Okay, so first this 3, you include it as part of the argument. So whatever you're taking log of, we call that the argument. So here x plus 7 is our argument, and for this logarithm, x is our argument. So we rewrite it as log x plus 7 to the power of 3. And then 1, because our log here, the base is not written, that means the base is 10. So 1 is equal to log of 10, and then minus log x. So now that everything is written as a logarithm to the same base, it's base 10, base 10, base 10, and there are no numbers multiplying the logarithms, you are going to multiply the arguments when you have an addition and divide where you have a subtraction. So if I look at these two first, I have log of x plus 7 cubed times 10 minus log x. So in the exam, you don't need to do all these long steps. You can, of course, just multiply and divide in one step. I'm just doing it this way because I'm explaining it. So here I'll have log 10 x plus 7 cubed, and then because I'm subtracting, I divide by x. So this is log, you can even put brackets here. We have 10 x plus 7 to the power of 3 over x. Okay, you can't really simplify it any further, so you just leave it like that. Okay, question 20 on matrices. It is given that Q is this matrix, R is this matrix, Q plus R. Q plus R, you just add the corresponding elements. That means -4, you'll add 0. So -4 plus 0 is -4. And then 3 plus 2, this is 5. And then 2 plus 5, this is 7. Then -2 plus 3, this is +1. Okay, so you're just adding the corresponding elements. So I didn't want to rewrite the whole matrices. I think it's sufficient to just show the working here. Okay, now we want the inverse of Q. Now finding the inverse of a 2x2 matrix is very easy. First, we have to work out the determinant. So the determinant of Q, here you multiply the two elements in the leading diagonal. So you say -4 times -2, and then you subtract the product on the minor diagonal, so 2 times 3. So this you work out on your calculator. -4 times -2 minus 2 times 3. This gives us 2. So very important thing to note that if the determinant of a matrix is 0, then it has no inverse. But here it's clearly not 0, it's 2, so the inverse does in fact exist. Then what you do is you take your determinant. Now to find Q inverse, you say 1 over your determinant, so 1 over 2. And then you form a new matrix here. How do you form this new matrix? What you do is, okay, I'm going to zoom out just a bit. Okay, so what you do is these elements on the leading diagonal, you interchange them. So you have 2, -2, sorry, and -4. So notice they've swapped places. And then these ones here on the minor diagonal, you multiply them by -1. So 3 times -1 is -3. And then 2 times -1 is -2. Then you would have to multiply inside your brackets. So half times -2 is -1/2. Half times -3, this is -3 over 2. and then half times -2 is -1/2, and then half times -4, this is -2. So you inverse, this is -1/2, then -2. And the good thing about this calculator is that you can actually check if your matrix that you've gotten here is the inverse. So you set your calculator in matrix mode. So you go to mode and then number 6. Then it gives you the options to enter matrices. So matrix 1, this is a 2 by 2 matrix. So option 5, then you enter the elements. So I have -4, 3, 2, -1, -2, sorry. Okay, you press on. Then if I want to enter another matrix, so say shift and then matrix. So I've entered matrix A. Now I want to go to matrix B, calling it option 4. Okay. Two. Okay. Number 2, matrix B is also a 2 by 2 matrix, and now I enter this. So it's -1/2, so it's a 0.5. And then I have -3/2 is -1.5. And then -0.5. And then -2. Okay. Yeah. Then now if I want to multiply matrix A, so I say 3 times matrix B. Okay, it's not giving me the identity matrix, so I just need to see if I did something wrong. Maybe I didn't enter them correctly. Okay, matrix A is correct. Okay, then matrix B, -1/2, -1.5, -5, and -2. Okay, just quickly go over the working. So the determinant is -4 times -2 minus 2 times 3. So this is 8 minus 6, which is 2. Then we interchange these two. It's -2 and -4, and then multiply those ones by -1. So this is -3 and -2. This is -1/2 minus 3/2, then -1/2 and -2. Okay, everything looks correct. Just check matrix B again. Okay. Okay, let's see what I did wrong. Okay, I see what I did now. Oh, Lord. Okay, don't make these silly mistakes. So this one here is not a half. I don't know why I say that. I'm sure you guys are like screaming at me saying that is not supposed to be a half. Okay, so this should actually be -1. Okay, yeah. So this is -1 and -1. Okay, so now let's try it on our calculators. So matrix 2. So which matrix am I changing? Matrix B. So this should be -1. This should also be -1. Okay, so I think now my matrix is correct. Okay, so now we multiply matrix A times matrix B, and you can see it gives me the identity, and you check the other way as well. So you say matrix B times matrix A. This also gives me the identity, so now I'm sure that my answer is correct. So I just need to correct it here. Okay, so you can see the teachers make mistakes. Important thing is to realize your mistake and correct it before you submit your paper. All right. Okay, then number 21. We can zoom in again. Number 21, calculate the angle marked T. So O is the center, ABC is 60. Now this is from your circle theorems. So the theorem says that if you have two radii, they form an angle, they're at the center, and then from the same two points to any point on the circumference, then this angle here is double of that one. So this will just be 60 times 2. So this will be 120, and we know that revolution is 360. So T is just going to be 360 minus 120. This is 240. Okay. Number 22. Johan spends P dollars on food and Q on drinks. Write an expression in terms of P and Q for the total that he spends. So here the total is just the amount you spend on food plus the amount you spend on a drink. So you just add them. So this is just P plus Q, no working needed. It's just P plus Q, and that is in terms of P and Q. Okay, number 23, the first 4 terms in a sequence are 4, 9, 14, and 19. Write down the next term. So we can work this out. The difference between these two, 9 minus 4 is 5. So I'm trying to find a pattern. 14 minus 9 is 5. 19 minus 14 is 5. So I can already guess to get the next number, I say 19 plus 5, which will give me 24. So the next number is 24. Now here you can see we have a common difference. So this is what we will call an arithmetic progression or an arithmetic sequence. And the formula for an arithmetic sequence, we know Tn. This is A plus n minus 1 times t. A is our first number in the sequence, so it's 4 plus n minus 1, our common difference is 5. Then would multiply these brackets out. So we have 4 plus 5 times n, and then 5 times minus 1 is minus 5. And in its simplest form, the formula for the nth term, this is 5n minus 1. So Tn, this is 5n minus 1. And you can always check and see if this is correct. So let's say I wanted to work out the first term. So T1, that means n is 1. So this is 5 times 1 minus 1, 5 minus 1, this is 4. And I can clearly see it's 4. But if I wanted the second term, this is 5 times 2 minus 1. 5 times 2 is 10 minus 1, this is 9. Okay, the third term, 5 times 3 minus 1, 15 minus 1 is 14. So I'm sure that my formula is correct. Then number 24, we have a hemisphere. And the question says find the volume of the hemisphere. So this is the formula for the volume of a sphere. Now a hemisphere is just half of a sphere. So our volume of the hemisphere is half the volume of the sphere, and the volume of the sphere is 4/3 pi r cubed. Our radius is given, it's 8. So this is half times 4/3 times pi times the radius cubed, 8 cubed. This you can do on your calculator. This is half. Okay, I need to change the mode so that appears nicely. So it's half times 4/3 times pi times 8 to the power of 3. And this gives me 1024/3 pi. Okay, and then we always want to write it to 3 significant figures or 1 decimal place, 107.3. Okay, so just follow the instructions on the paper. Okay, number 25 has to do with functions. So functions f and g are given such that f of x is 3 minus 4x and g of x is x squared, where x is a real number. Find f and g of 2. Okay, now the notation here is a little bit different, but I'm guessing here they want you to find the composition. So this is g of f of 2. So what you need to do is work out f of 2, and then your answer, you'll substitute it in g. So you find f of 2. This is 3 minus 4 times 2. This is 3 minus 8, which is minus 5. And then you are going to substitute that in g. So you're actually working out g of minus 5. So wherever you have x in g, you put minus 5. So this is minus 5 squared, which is 25. Okay, then the next question, 25b, solve the equation f of x is equal to 5x. So f of x is here. So we have 3 minus 4x is equal to 5 minus x. We know how to solve this. Collect all the terms with x on one side, the terms without x on the other side. So this 5 will go this side, 3 minus 5. And then we'll have minus x, and this one goes that side. We have plus 4x. So 3 minus 5 is minus 2, and this is 3x. Divide by 3. You have negative 2/3 is equal to x. This means x is negative 2/3. Okay, so x is equal to this one. So just quickly checking over what I have. Okay, looks fine. Okay, number 26, I think we need to zoom out a little bit. Then find the equation of the line shown in the grid. Okay, so we know that our line in standard form, y is equal to mx plus c. C here is the y-intercept, and we can clearly see the y-intercept is 12. So c here is 12. The only thing we need is our gradient. So to get the gradient, you pick any 2 points and use the formula delta y over delta x. Okay, so my gradient, okay, so this is from the graph. So my gradient, you need to pick 2 points. It can be any 2 points, it doesn't matter. Let's say I use this one. This point here is 8,4. So that's my first point. So I have 8,4, and I'm going to use this one, which is 12,4. comma 0. Okay, so we can label them. This is x1, y1, x2, y2. So we know this is y2 minus y1, or x2 minus x1. So this is 0 minus 4 over 12 minus 8. So this you can do on your calculator. 0 minus 4 over 12 minus 8. And this is negative 1. Okay, so that is my gradient m. So now that I know what m and c are, I just substitute them here. So y is equal to negative 1x, or just negative x, plus c, which is 12. Okay, then that is the equation of my straight line. Then B says write down 3 inequalities which define the shaded region. Okay, so the shaded region is below this line L that I worked out, and the equation, the equation of this line is y is equal to minus x plus 3. So below means less than or equal to. So we have y is less than or equal to minus x plus 12. Then the second one is we have this horizontal line here. So here, this horizontal line here. This is the line y is equal to 4, okay? And it's above that line, so that is greater than, and it's strictly greater than because I have a broken line over here. So the second inequality is y is greater than 4. And then I have a vertical line here. This vertical line here is the line x is equal to 3, and it's on the right. That means greater than or equal to. The reason why I'm saying greater than or equal to is because this is a solid line. It's not broken like this one. So that is x is greater than or equal to 3. Okay, so that is how you describe, write down the 3 inequalities that describe the marked region. Okay, zoom in again. Okay, number 27, a learner scores the following marks in 8 mathematics tests. The mean is 16.5. Find the value of x. So to find the mean, we know that you have to add all the values and then divide by the number that you have. So you would say 16 plus 20 plus 8 plus 19 plus 26 plus 11 plus 17 plus x, and then you would divide all of these by 8 because there's 8 tests, and this should be equal to 16.5. So if we simplify our numerator, we have 16 plus 20 plus 8 plus 19 plus 26 plus 11 plus 17. This is 117. Plus x over 8, this is equal to 16.5. Then you cross multiply, we have 117 plus x. This is 16.5 times 8, which is 132. Then to solve for x, this is 132 minus 117. This is 15. So x is equal to 15. Okay, then you can try this on your calculator, add all the numbers as if this was 15, then find the average. So you'd say 16 plus 20 plus 8 plus 19 plus 26 plus 11 plus 17 plus 15, and then divide this by 8. You can see that the average is in fact 16.5. Okay, number 28. A box contains 3 red balls, 7 green balls, and 10 white balls. A ball is picked from the box at random. Find the probability that the ball is white or red. So the probability is just the number of whatever you're looking for divided by the total. So how many red and white balls do we have? So we have 3 red and 10 white. And then we divide this by the total. So it's 3 plus 7 plus 10. This is 20. So the probability that we have white or red, this is the number of red and white divided by the total. So this is 13 over 20. So remember, probability must be between 0 and 1, and you can either write it as a fraction, a percentage, or a decimal. So here our probability is 13 over 20. And the probability of picking a purple ball. Okay, so the probability of picking a purple ball. Here again, you just say, how many purple balls do I have? A 0 out of 20, so the probability is 0. And that should make sense because there's no purple balls in the bag or whatever it is. So it's impossible to pick a purple one. So you can remember again, write it as a fraction, a percentage, or as a decimal. And it must be between 0 and 1. Okay, number 29, David invests 9,500 in a bank which pays 6% compound interest per annum. Calculate the total amount that David receives after 4 years. So you need to remember your formula for compound interest. The accumulated amount is the principal 1 plus the rate to the power of t. And remember that your rate must be over 100. So if it's 6%, your rate is 6 divided by 100, which is 0.6. So here my rate 6%. When we plug it in here, it'll be 6 over 100, which is 0.06. Okay. Then my time, this is just 4 years. Okay, my principal P, this is 9,500. Just substitute. So A, 500, 1 plus 0.06 to the power of t, which is 4. Okay, on your calculator, 9,500, 1 plus 0.6 to the power of 4. Okay, so that's 11,993. Okay, and because we're talking about money, we like to leave it to 2 decimal places. Okay. All right, and we're done with the paper. So that didn't take us too long. So this is 2-hour paper. Yeah, 2-hour paper. We've taken less than 2 hours. So what should you do with those 2 hours? Should you just hand in your paper? No, what you should do is go over your questions, make sure that what you've done is in fact correct. Okay, so that was our lesson for today, and I'll see you guys in the next video.